Viewers, thank you for visiting this channel and for opening this video. This channel is dedicated to solving national and international mathematics examinations with more focus on Ethiopian University entrance examinations and Ethiopian University exit exams. In this specific video, I try to solve 10 problems from the 2025 Ethiopian University entrance examination on mathematics from booklet code 291. Before I start solving these problems, as usual, I kindly ask you to subscribe my channel. Let us start. Problem number 31. Which one of the following function is not a power function? So to answer this question, simply you have to recall what power function means. This is provided in student's textbook, grade 11. A function of the form f of x is equal to a x raised to r for some non-zero real number a and a real number r is called a power function. In short, a power function is a function of the form constant times variable raised to constant, where the coefficient a should not be 0. And the variable should be used as base, not exponent. If variable is used as exponent, the function is not called power function. Rather, it's called exponential function. So let us see the choices now. If we look at a, variable is used as base. It is constant times variable raised to constant, so it is power. Similarly, b and d are power, but c is not, because variable is used as exponent. It is not a power function, it's an exponential function. So the answer is C. Problem number 32. Which of the following statement defines the greatest integer function given by f of x is equal to? We read this notation as the greatest integer less than or equal to x. What's the meaning of this? The definition is given in student's textbook as follows. The function defined by f of x is equal to the greatest integer that is less than or equal to x, denoted by the symbol, is called the greatest integer function. It's also called floor function or step function. These three terms are the same: greatest integer function, floor function, step function. By the way, there is another function which is very much related to this. It's called least integer function, or sailing function, or rounding up function. Since this is not provided in student's textbook, we should not waste time discussing about that. This is simply for your information. In our case, we are required to identify among the given choices the definition of greatest integer function. The greatest integer function is the largest integer. The greatest integer function means it is the largest integer less than or equal to a given number. The greatest integer function at x means the largest integer less than or equal to x. For example, the largest integer less than or equal to pi is 3. Of all integers less than pi, the largest is 3. So the greatest integer function round down the given number to the nearest integer. ወደ ታች ያጠጋጋል። ከሱ የሚያንስ ግን ቅርብ የሆነ ኢንቲጀር ይሰጠናል። ለምሳሌ ከፓይ ከሚያንሱት ኢንቲጀርስ ትልቁ 3 ነው። the greatest integer less than or equal to pi is 3. ስለዚህ greatest integer function ማለት ወደ ታች ወደሚቀርበው ኢንቲጀር ማጠጋጋት ነው የተሰጠንን ቁጥር የሚያጠጋጋ ፋንክሽን ነው። ለምሳሌ the greatest integer less than or equal to 2.31 ማለት of all integers which are less than 2.31, the greatest is 2. 2.31 ከሚያንሱት ኢንቲጀሮች ትልቁ 2 ነው። ስለዚህ ይሄ ፋንክሽን ያንንም ይሰጣል ማለት ነው እንደ ቫልዩ። ስለዚህ ከሚከተሉት ውስጥ ትክክለኛው የግሬተስት ኢንቲጀር ፋንክሽን ዴፊኒሽን የሆነው የትኛው ነው ነው ጥያቄው። a is an integer less than or greater than x አይደለም፣ greater than ሊሆን አይችልም። ማነስ አለበት ወይም እኩል ይሆናሉ እንጂ greater than x አይሆንም። is an integer less than or equal. it's an integer ማለት it is any integer ማለት ነው አይደለም፣ አይሆንም። መሆን ያለበት the greatest integer ነው። ለምሳሌ እዚህ ጋር it's an integer less than or equal to x በሚለው የምንሄድ ከሆነ 1 is an integer less than 2.31 ስለዚህ 1ም ውጤት ቫልዩ ሊሆን ነው ማለት ነው ለዚህ ፋንክሽን an integer less than or equal to x 1 is an integer less than or equal to 2.31 1 is an integer and it's less than or equal to 2.31 ስለዚህ the greatest integer less than or equal to 2.31 1ም ሊሆን ነው ማለት ነው አይቻልም ይሄ ዴፊኒሽን ልክ አይደለም c b ላይ ያለው ዴፊኒሽን አይሆንም c ላይ ያለው እንደዚሁ አይሆንም is the least integer greater than x integer greater than x አይሆንም በጭራሽ ሁሉ ጊዜ ወደ ታች ነው የሚያጠጋጋው greatest integer function ወደ ታች ያጠጋጋል ወደሚቀርበው integer ከሱ የሚያንስ ነቅርብ የሆነ integer የሚሰጥ function ነው እንደ value so c ማይሆንም d ማይሆንም ይሄ ጥያቄ ችግር አለበት big ኤረሮች በስተዋል በዚህ booklet ውስጥ አንድ 3 ኤረሮችን አይቻለሁ ከዚህ ጋር next problem which one of the following expression is the correct decomposition of the rational expression this decomposition it's better to say partial fraction decomposition what is the partial fraction decomposition of this function okay in order to find the partial fraction decomposition of a rational function we have to record certain steps and techniques and before that we have to recall certain terms a rational function p over q is said to be proper if the degree of numerator is smaller and improper if the degree of numerator is greater or equal to the degree of denominator we call it partial fraction if it has one of the following forms constant over linear raised to some number or linear divided by an irreducible quadratic that means a quadratic function which cannot be factorized raised to some number if a rational function is in the form of constant over linear raised to constant or linear over irreducible quadratic raised to constant we call it a partial fraction and we say rational function is expressed or decomposed into partial fractions if it is a sum of partial fractions that means a sum of functions of rational functions of this type and rational function as a sum of partial fractions we say it is decomposed into partial fractions or that expression is called partial fraction decomposition of the given function ስለዚህ አሁን የተሰጠንን function ወደ partial fraction decomposition decompose ለማድረግ ምን ማድረግ እንዳለብን አስቀድመን ማወቅ ይኖርብናል መልሱን ለመመለስ ማለት ስቴፖች አሉ in order to find the partial fraction decomposition of a given rational function p of x over q of x first step 1 identify whether the given rational function is proper or improper if it is proper directly go to step 2 step 1 is not needed but if it is improper first try to divide p of x over q of x by using the long division method for polynomials and then after that you can write the given rational function as a polynomial function f plus r over q where r over q is proper fraction that means the degree of r is smaller than degree of q በዚህ መልክ መጻፍ መጀመሪያ ይቻላል improperን ወደ proper በproper መግለጽ ይቻላል ያ የመጀመሪያው ስቴፕ ቀጥለን properን ደግሞ ወደ partial fraction መቀየር እንችላለን ያን ለማድረግ in order to convert first we have to convert improper into proper in this way improper is equal to polynomial plus proper ይሆናል after that step 2 factorize the denominator q there are 5 possibilities when you factorize all the factors can be linear ሁለት አይነት አለ there are 2 cases the same linear factor can be repeated many times or the factors can be distinct linear የተለያዩ linear factors ሊሆኑ ይችላሉ when you factorize q you can get repeated linear factors or distinct linear factors or repeated quadratic factors or distinct quadratic factors or mixture of this so in order to convert the proper fraction error of x over q of x into partial fractions. In order to write it as sum of partial fractions, we have to consider these cases. በእነዚህ ኬዞች ላይ የተመሰረተ ነው አሰራሩ ማለት ነው። ለየትኛው ኬዝ ምን እንደሚደረግ በቴብል መልክ እናያለን። What should be done for each case? If the factors of the denominator have this form, a1x plus b1 and so on, that means distinct linear, then the partial fractions take this form. Constant over the first factor plus constant over the second and so on. If the denominator is product of only quadratic factors which are distinct, they are different quadratic factors, then the partial fraction takes this form: linear over the first factor plus linear another linear over the second and so on. If the denominator, the factors of the denominator q are in the form of ax plus b raised to n, that means ax plus b times ax plus b times ax plus b. Ax plus b is used as a factor many times. That means here we have a repeated linear. In that case, the partial fractions have the form constant over ax plus b plus another constant plus x plus b square ይሆናል። ቀጥለን ሌላ constant over x plus b cube እያል እስከ መጨረሻው እስከ n መሄድ ይኖርብናል። Similarly for quadratic and repeated case, we make linear over the quadratic factor plus another linear over quadratic square እያለ እስከ መጨረሻው exponents ከn ይሄዳል። ሚክስቸር ከሆነ የነዚህ ለምሳሌ ሊኒየር ታይምስ ኳድራቲክ ከሆነ ለሊኒየር የሊኒየር ስራ ለኳድራቲክ የኳድራቲክን ስራ በመስራት ዲኮምፖዝ እናደርጋለን። ስለዚህ አምስት ኬዞች አሉ ዲኮምፖዝ ለማድረግ የተሰጠን አሁን ለኛ in our case the given function is 2x minus 3 over x squared plus x minus 2. The degree of numerator is 1, the degree of denominator is 2, so it is proper. Step 1 is not needed. Step 1 is not needed because it is not improper, it's proper. Step 2, we factorize denominator. When we factorize, we get x minus 1 times x plus 2. Step 3, since we have distinct linear, x minus 1 and x plus 2 are not the same. So what we have to do is, in the case of distinct linear, that means case 1, this case, the partial fractions take the form constant over one of the linear plus another constant over the other linear. So እንደዚህ አርገን መጻፍ እንችላለን። distinct linear ስለሆኑ የሆነ constant over ገና የሚፈለግ ነው ይሄ constant over the first linear plus another constant over the second linear. So it's possible to write the given function in the form of a over first linear plus b over second linear. It remains to get these constants a and b, and it's very simple to find a and b. We can convert this into system of equations. In place of x, let us put 0. In that case, we get when a is 0, when x is 0, here we have negative a plus b over 2. Multiplying both sides by 2, we get the first equation, negative 2a plus b is equal to 3. Similarly, in place of x, if we put negative 1, we get the second equation here. So if we solve this equation simultaneously, the value of b becomes 7 over 3 and that of a becomes negative 1 over 3. So in place of a, we put negative 1 over 3. In place of b, we put 7 over 3. Then when we simplify the right hand side, not simplification of course, by rewriting in place of a we have negative 1 over 3. So multiply numerator and denominator by negative 1. Then we have 1 over 3 minus 3x. Similarly, the second term b over x plus 2 becomes, when we put in place of b 7 over 3, this one. So the answer is A. You can check the choices. 1 over 3 minus 3x and plus 7 over 3x plus 6. Problem number 34, we are given this graph, the graph of a certain rational function, and we are asked to find formula for this graph, that is the function for which this is a graph. Find the function for which this is a graph. In order to answer this problem, we have to use some clues. These are asymptotes. Asymptotes are known here. vertical asymptotes are given, x is equal to 1 and x is equal to negative 1. Horizontal asymptote graph horizontally x-axis እየተጠጋ ይሄዳል x-axis ማለት y is equal to 0 horizontal asymptote ነው x is equal to 1 and x is equal to negative 1 vertical asymptotes ናቸው what function has these asymptotes among the choices እሱን ነው ማለት sorry how to find vertical asymptote in general to find vertical asymptotes you can follow these steps. First, simplify the given equation. After that, find the root of the denominator. What number makes the denominator 0? If, for example, r makes the denominator 0, then x is equal to r is vertical asymptote. So it is very simple to find vertical asymptote. To find horizontal asymptote or oblique, by the way, ሁለቱ አንድ ላይ ሊኖሩ አይችሉም. Horizontal ካለ oblique አይኖርም, oblique ካለ horizontal አይኖርም. To find horizontal or oblique asymptote, check or compare degrees of numerator and denominator. If the degree of numerator is smaller, y is equal to 0 is horizontal asymptote. If the degree of numerator is the same as the degree of denominator, divide leading coefficient of numerator by leading coefficient of denominator. If the coefficient is, the quotient or the ratio is q, y is equal to q becomes again horizontal asymptote. If the degree of numerator is 1 plus degree of denominator, in that case there is no horizontal asymptote, rather we have oblique asymptote, and to get oblique asymptote divide numerator by denominator. If the quotient is ax plus b, y is equal to x plus b is oblique asymptote, slant asymptote. If the degree of numerator is greater than degree of denominator plus 1, in that case there is no horizontal as well as no oblique asymptote. ሌሎች አሲምፕቶቶች ግን በሃይስኩል ደረጃ ያልሆኑ ሊኖሩ ይችላሉ ሆሪዞንታሊም ኦብሊክም ያልሆነ አሲምፕቶት ሊኖረው ይችላል ግን ሆሪዞንታል እና ኦብሊክ አይኖርም ስለዚህ አሁን ለዚህ ግራፍ የትኛው ፋንክሽን ግራፉ ለየትኛው ፋንክሽን ግራፍ ይሆናል የሚለውን መልስ ኤ ላይ ያለው ስንመለከት ሆሪዞንታል አሲምፕቶቱ y = 0 ነው ምክንያቱም ይሄ ሲምፕሊፋይድ ሆኖ የተቀመጠ ፋንክሽን ነው the root of denominator the roots are 1 negative 1 so x is equal to 1 and x is equal to negative 1 are vertical asymptotes ስለዚህ እንዲያው መልሱ እሱ ነው ማለት ነው ምክንያቱም ግራፉ ያን ያሳያል the vertical asymptotes are x is equal to negative 1 and x is equal to 1 horizontal asymptote y is equal to 0 no other choice satisfies this only a satisfies this if we look at b there is no vertical asymptote because the denominator can never be 0. If we look at C, leading coefficients are 1 and 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. So y is equal to 1 becomes horizontal asymptote. But if we look at the graph, the horizontal asymptote is not y is equal to 1. Y is equal to 1 ማለት በዚህ የሚያልፍ horizontal line ነው። ስለዚህ እንዲህ አይነት asymptote የለውም። asymptote y is equal to 0 ስለሆነ እሱም መልስ አይሆንም ሁሉም አይሆንም መልስ መሆን የሚችለው a ነው ማለት ነው። So the answer is A. Problem number 35, we are given this matrix equation. The matrix is equal to another matrix and we are asked to find the value of x. What is the value of x? And this requires only definition of equality for matrix. Matrices. When do we say two matrices are equal? If their corresponding entries are equal. በአንድ ቦታ ወይም ፖዚሽን ላይ ያሉት እኩል መሆን ይኖርባቸዋል እኩል ለማለት ስለዚህ ለምሳሌ x plus y ያለችው የፈርስት ሮው እና ፈርስት ኮለመን ላይ ነው በዛ ልክ ያለው ኢንትሪ በቀኝ በኩል 7 ነው ስለዚህ x plus y እና 7 እኩል ይሆናል similarly x minus y and 3 are the same from this we can get the value of x vertically down let us add 2x is equal to 10 from that we get x is equal to 5 so the answer is B this is very simple Next problem, before I solve the remaining problems, we have already covered solving half of the problems chosen for today or for this video. ለዚህ ቪዲዮ ከተመረጡት 10 ጥያቄዎች አሁን 5ቱን ሰርተናል ተመችቷችሁ ከሆነ ቪዲዮውን ላይክ አድርጉት ቻናሉን ደግሞ ሰብስክራይብ ያላደረጋችሁ ተመልካቾች እባካችሁ ሰብስክራይብ አድርጉት ማበረታቻ ነው ለኔ let us continue solving the problem number 36 which was the following statement is true about the given system of linear equations. This is simply about non-homogeneous and homogeneous equation, identifying the difference between these two. We say a system of equations is homogeneous if all constant terms are zero. The variable coefficient ያልሆኑ ቁጥሮች በሙሉ constant terms በሙሉ ዜሮ ከሆኑ እዚህ ቢ ላይ ያለው homogeneous አይደለም okay a ላይ ያለው non-homogeneous አይደለም because ዜሮ ብቻ ናቸው constant termዎቹ a is not homogeneous A is homogeneous because the constant terms are all zero so it cannot be non-homogeneous x if you look at c it cannot be homogeneous because not all constants are zero እዚህ ጋር ዜሮ ያልሆነ አለ d is not homogeneous because all constants are non-zero so the only correct answer is b the answer is b next what's the determinant of this matrix and this is a matter of applying the definition of determinant here is the definition if A is a 3 by 3 matrix square matrix then the determinant of A is denoted by this symbol or this symbol and it is a number given by this formula A11 means the entry on first row and first column similarly A12 on first and second column A13 is entry on first row and third column nani Aዎች ናቸው Cዎችስ C11 is called the cofactor of A11 ይባላል A11 cofactor ምን ማለት ነው ያ ማለት first row እና first column delete አድርገን የሚቀረውን ማትሪክስ ዲተርሚናንት በመፈለግ የሚገኝ ቁጥር ነው ፎርሙላ አለው ፎርሙላው C11 ማለት M11 ኦኬ የሳብስክሪፕቶች ድምር ኢቭን ከመጣ C11 CIJ እና MIJ በአጠቃላይ እኩል ይሆናሉ MIJ ማለት ግን it is the determinant of the matrix obtained by deleting i's row and j's column ለምሳሌ M11 ማለት የመጀመሪያው row እና የመጀመሪያው column ደልተን የቀረውን ማትሪክስ 2 by 2 የሆነው ማትሪክስ ዲተርሚናንት መፈለግ ማለት ነው እሱ ነው ያ ዲተርሚናንት M11 ይባላል እዚህ ጋር ለምሳሌ 5 over 2 times 9 over 2 minus 3 times 4 ይመጣል negative 3 over 4 similarly C12 becomes okay cofactor and minor are not always the same if the sum of the subscripts is odd cofactor is negative of minor if it is even they are the same since in this case in the case of C12 the sum of the subscript is odd so the cofactor of A12 is not the same as minor of A12 but cofactor of A12 is negative of minor of A12 negative will መርሳት የለብንም ማለት ነው እዚህ ጋር M12 ግን first row ደልተን second column በመደለት ይቀረውን 2 by 2 matrix determinant ማግኘት ማለት ወይም ያ determinant ማለት ነው M12 ማለት so if we delete first row and first column what remains first row and second column have 7 over 2 first row and second column 3 first row and second column means if we delete 3 and 9 over 2 if we find the determinant of these we get 3 over 2 similarly C13 becomes negative 3 over 4 if we compute formula for if you compute the determinant of A by applying its formula A11 C11 A12 C12 A13 C13 in place of A11 we have to insert half because entry on first row and first column is half similarly A12 is 1 and A13 is 3 over 2 cofactors we have already found them multiply entries with corresponding cofactors and add the multiples at the end we get 0 so the answer is A oh sorry Where is it? Where are the choices? Yes, 37. The answer is A, 0. Next problem number 38. Which of the following matrix is the inverse of the matrix 113, negative 101, 213? By the way, here ለመመለስ በተለይ መንገድ መመለስ እንችላለን። ገና ምንም ስራ ሳንሰራ ኢንቨርስ ነው አይደለም ብሎ ለማወቅ የኢንቨርሲን ዴፊኒሽን እናስታውስ መጀመሪያ ምርጫዎቹን ለመምረጥ ከነዚህ ውስጥ የትኛው ኢንቨርስ ይሆናል ብሎ ለማወቅ ዴፊኒሽን ብቻ በማየት እና በመልቲፕሊኬሽን ልንመልስ እንችላለን። An invertible matrix is also called a non-singular matrix, and a matrix that is not invertible is called, okay, invertible matrix ምን እንደሆነ ዴፊኒሽኑ ይሄ በደንብ ባይሰጥም invertible ነው የሚባለው አንድ ማትሪክስ ሌላ ማትሪክስ ከሱ ጋር ተባዝቶ አይደንቲቲ የሚሰጥ ካለ ነው። አንድ ማትሪክስ ከሌላ ማትሪክስ ጋር ተባዝቶ አይደንቲቲ ከመጣ አንዱ ማትሪክስ ለሌላ ኢንቨርስ ነው ይባላል። ስለዚህ በመልቲፕሊኬሽን ማወቅ ይቻላል። እዚህ ጋር የመጀመሪያውን ለምሳሌ የተሰጠው ማትሪክስ ከኤ ጋር መልቲፕላይ አድርገን ኤ ላይ ካለው ማትሪክስ ጋር መልቲፕላይ አድርገን አይደንቲቲ ከመጣ ኢንቨርስ ነው ልንለው እንችላለን ኤ ላይ ያለው። ግን ማትሪክስ መልቲፕሊኬሽን ኮሚቴቲቭ ስላልሆነ ስናባዛ መጠንቀቅ አለብን። በሁለቱም አቅጣጫ መልቲፕላይ አድርገን ማየት አለብን። ይሄ ግን ትንሽ አድካሚ ይመስላል። ስለዚህ በፎርሙላው እንስራ። በፎርሙላ ስለዚህ የኢንቨርስ አፈላለግ ወይ ኢንቨርስ በተለይ መንገድ ሊፈለግ ይችላል። አንድ ሶስት ዋና መንገዶች አሉ። There are around 3 main methods for finding inverses. In order to answer this problem, in order to find the inverse of this matrix, we have to recall methods for finding inverses. There are some well-known methods: adjoint method, the method of elementary row operations, and there are also others. አንዱን ካወቅን በደንብ በቂ ነው። adjoint ሜተድ የሚባለው እንጠቀማለን። adjoint ሜተድ ማለት ምን ማለት ነው? ሶስት ስቴፕ ያስፈልጋል። ፎርሙላው ይሄ ነው። inverse is equal to 1 over determinant times adjoint. adjoint ማለት ከኮፋክተርስ የሚሰራ ማትሪክስ ነው። ኮፋክተሮችን እንደ ኢንትሪ በመጠቀም ለምሳሌ C11 C12 C13 ወደ ጎን የተጻፉትን ግን ወደ ታች አድርገን C11 C12 C13 first row ላይ ያሉት እነዚህ ወደ ታች ኮለመን አድርገን C21 C22 C23 second ኮለመን አድርገን C31 C33 C32 C33 third ኮለመን አድርገን የምናገኘው ማትሪክስ adjoint ይባላል። ያን ማትሪክስ ከ1 over determinant of A ጋር አባዝተን ኢንቨርስ እናገኛለን። Okay, in order to find the the inverse of this matrix, let us apply the adjoint method. First, we have to find determinant. The determinant of the given matrix. You can check it. The determinant is 1. Step 2, we have to find cofactors by applying formula or definition of cofactor. The cofactors are found here. At the end, step 3, we have to apply formula for finding inverse by using adjoint method. The formula is 1 over determinant times adjoint of A. Adjoint are formed by using cofactors as entries. Cofactors in the entry በመጠቀም ግን ወደ ታች በመጻፍ C11 C12 C13 negative 101 negative 0 ማለት 0 1 ወደ ታች similarly እዚህ ጋር 5 negative 3 negative 4 አለ እሱንም ወደ ታች እዚህ negative 5 የሚለው ልክ አይደለም sorry 5 ነው negative 1 1 1 ወደ ታች በመጻፍ ኮፋክተር በኮፋክተሮች የሚሰራ ማትሪክስ ወይም adjoint matrix እንሰራለን. After that we multiply by 1 over determinant, but determinant is 1. ስለዚህ ያስፈልግም መልሱ ራሱ adjoint የነበረው ነው ኢንቨርስ የሚሆነው። እሺ negative 5 ግን 5 ናት። ስለዚህ የትኛው ምርጫ ነው የሚሆነው? sorry the answer is among the choices it is B. 5 negative 3 negative 4 negative 1 0 1 negative 1 1. The answer is B. Next problem number 39. Which of the following statement describes the difference between scalar and vector? This is very simple. Physical quantities that only have magnitude are scalars. Yes, scalars have only magnitude and vectors have both. ስለዚህ መልሱ A ነው። ምንም ሌላ ምርጫ ማየትም አያስፈልግም። which of the following statements true about types of data? These are also very simple. Height is not qualitative, it's quantitative. height በቁጥር ይገለጻል። weight is not qualitative, weighትም በቁጥር የሚገለጽ quantitative ነው። gender ጾታ ወንድ ሴት እየተባለ ነው በቁጥር አይደለም። ስለዚህ እሱ quantitative አይደለም qualitative ነው። the age እድሜ በቁጥር ነው የሚገለጸው quantitative ነው። መልሱ እሱ ነው። የትኛው ነው ልክ ይላል? ዲ ላይ ያለው ብቻ ነው ልክ ነው። This is the end of the video. Thank you for listening. If you have not subscribed my channel yet, please do it so.